Hello and welcome to episode 54 of Let's Run Facebook Ads, podcast with me, Nick Boddington. Following on from last week's podcast, which I hope you've all listened to, about retargeting audience you have built called custom audiences, today we talk about lookalikes. That's creating a lookalike audience from, you guessed it, the custom audience. So let's get right in. Hello and welcome to the Let's Run Facebook Ads, the podcast, episode 54, with me, your host, Nick Boddington. I hope everyone is well today. I hope you've all gone away and built your custom audiences. If you haven't, because come on, guys, we've got to get on this. We've got to get this. We've got to get these ads working, get this retargeting going. I need you all to go and you need to listen to this podcast, and then you need to go and action it. Come on, that's how we get further. Come on, let's just do it. Let's do it. Right. So now we're going to look at lookalike audiences. So basically, let's have a little talk about lookalike audience. So some of you now are going, they don't work. We've been told they don't work. Okay, fine. iOS 14 has messed up a lot of things, and there is talk in the town that they don't work, but I still see they work on occasions, a lot of occasions, and you still need to test these things out. Don't let what you're seeing on the internet tell you they don't work. Test it out for yourself. So what is a lookalike? A lookalike is what it says on the tin, really. You build a custom audience based on purchases, add to carts, initiate checkouts, leads, landing page views, URL views on your website. All these different things you can build a custom audience out of, which is what we looked at last week. And we retarget those custom audiences because we want to retarget people who've been to our website or been to our Facebook page or entered in their email details onto a page, whatever. All these things, watched a video, we want to retarget. A lookalike is where Facebook decided to, a few years back, to update its algorithm and bring in a lookalike, which basically said, hey, if you've got a few hundred people who have purchased through your website, our algorithm is so strong and so intelligent that we will go and find more people who look like the people who are buying your products or interested in buying your products or like going to your website. We'll go and find more of them. And it worked an absolute treat. So much so, and still the amount of client accounts that we've taken over as an agency and we've gone into, and all we have seen is lookalikes running. Because you're probably thinking, I don't talk that much about lookalikes. And no, I don't actually. And this whole podcast, I haven't really talked about lookalikes that much. Why? Because a lot of the time, guys, I saw interest working probably just as well. And I only know that because I tested out the two. So what a lot of people do, it's a really good way of being lazy that got you good results, but I'm all about getting the best results. So if I found an interest was better, I'd put the time in, and my team would put the time in to test different interests out to see if we can find something that works better than a lookalike. But essentially what people would do is they would get their ad, they'd get their creative. And I'm talking again about 5 years now, even 5 years ago, this stuff was pretty simple. Like you could even get traffic to get you orders. Now, you know full well that even since I started this podcast, I'm not about driving traffic. It's about driving conversions and using the right objectives. But you could, 3 years ago, I was running ads with traffic and still getting really good results, but things have changed. The lookalike was just used by going a 1%. So what I mean by that, and it's weird how it's done a percentage because, you know, percentages end in 100, but essentially when you build a lookalike, you get asked what percentage should look like, and it's broken into 1 to 10. So 1% up to 10%. Now, each percentage has around 400,000 customers or potential customers in it. And it was the fact that 1% would be the most accurate to your audience, to your purchase. So let's say you've had 5,000 purchases and it works on 180 days. Okay. So Facebook will only go back 180 days. So anyone that's come up to 181 days falls out of your custom audience. I think we discussed this on the custom audience yet. So if you got 180-day audience, people are always come in. So the minute someone new comes to your website, they fall into the website clicks audience. And as soon as they hit 180 days, they fall out of it. Okay. So from a lookalike or view, it's always changing. So it's always got new people coming into it and into your customer audience, which then also changes your lookalike audience. But about 400,000 people fall into each percentage of your lookalike. So 400,000 times 10 is 4 million. So you can start seeing how you can really expand your audiences. Now, right at the beginning, everyone just stuck, and even now, most people just stick to a 1% audience, a 1% lookalike audience. If you've got bigger budgets or you're wanting to scale your ads, 400,000 people isn't a lot. So you want to be really now looking at into the millions. So I find 4 and 5 works really well. I find 6 works really well. So if you've got loads of budget, you can build a 1 to 2, a 1% audience, a 2 to 3 audience, 3 to 4, or build a 1 to 5 audience and get everyone in it. There's lots of different options. And it's all about just finding those pockets, because I've tested like 1 to 6. I've done a 1%, a 2%, 3%, 4%. And then in a CBO campaign, I've put them against each other. So same ad, same copy, same campaign, but I've tested different lookalikes, and you'll find like 4 works really well, 6 works really well. And then you turn the others off, just like it's testing on interests and far away. But since iOS 14 has come out, there's been lots of talk that lookalikes don't work. And you can kind of, logic says that they might not. So they work and have worked up to iOS 14 because we've got a very, very strong computer, the Facebook computer, a very strong algorithm. But as you know, the Pixel hasn't been tracking as well. We're still pulling a hair out of tracking, as in reporting. Anyone who's opted out of iOS 14 that now doesn't get picked up on the Pixel. But Facebook, its API conversions has made it so that it's talking server to server. So you can set other things up which allow the servers to talk to each other. So Facebook's trying to combat this. But remember, we've still got loads of people who don't use iOS. So a lookalike audience can still be created. There's still a stupid amount of data that can be built into a lookalike audience. So have a think. You can build a lookalike audience on everything. So let's talk about how we build that lookalike audience. So let's go back into an ads manager. I'm doing this live. Let's go back into create an ad. No, we won't. We don't need to create an ad. We're going to go into audiences. So go into your audiences, and we're going to go to create a custom audience. So let's say we've created a custom audience. Now I've got one in front of me which says it's a US client, and it's a US leads in 180 days. So that client is creating leads in the last 180 days. So what you would do is here, you can click on the little, there's various ways. You can either go to create a lookalike. I like to do it this way. So if I create a lookalike audience from the little drop down where you're creating a custom audience, which is create audience, lookalike, I find this a little bit more confusing. You still get all the percentages at the bottom up to 10, but it starts, you're having to create your sources. And I just find that it's just a bit confusing. I like to go by actually clicking on the custom audience I've created, and that splits your screen. And then you can see in here, you've got summary and you've got what that custom audience is made out of. Now in the top, you've got actions, and in the actions drop down, I select create lookalike. And what this has automatically done, it's already pulled out my source because we've gone straight from the custom audience. I can then check and I'm going to choose, because this is a client in America, I'm going to check my audience to say United States. Now, for instance, in front of me now, and I'm going to change this for UK as well, I've got 0 to 1%, there's 2.7 million. If I take 0 to 2%, there's 5.5. If I take it all the way up to 10, I've got 27.3 million. If I take it to 5, I've got 13 million. So you can start seeing how, obviously this is an American one, so it's got a lot of reach. So 0 to 1% is 1 million. If I do 1 to 2%, it's 2.7 million. If I do, and I think this is obviously going to fall into these brackets, if I do 1%, 2% now to 3%, so there's 2.7 million in each of the percentage ranges. Now, if I change that to, let's have a look in the UK and see if my 400,000 was right. Oh, nearly 544.6 thousand in each percentage. So if we move that up to 5%, it's 2.7 million. Up to 10%, 5.4 million. So based on this particular client, a lookalike based on the people who have gone onto the website, they've opted in for that company because it's a service company to contact them. So it's generated a lead for the company. I'm building an audience out of the people who have opted in for that company's services. Facebook is saying it can give me an access to a total of 5.4 million people who look like those people who have inquired. So I would say that I'm looking at I know this particular client, I know the audience size in their custom audience, people do it. They're not getting 100 leads every single day because it's just not that kind of marketplace. So I would say going up to 10% is too much. I'd be quite happy at this moment to stick between testing out 1%, 2%, 3% in the UK market, and then going a little bit larger in the American market. So very simply, you just literally create a custom audience if you haven't got it created, make a custom audience of website visitors, make a custom audience of leads, purchases on your e-com site, add to carts on your e-com site, initiate checkouts on your e-com site. And especially with e-com retargeting, I would definitely test between a 1% add to cart, a 1% initiate checkout, and a 1% purchase. And when you go to build your ad, use a campaign budget optimization and just test them out against each other and see which one wins. You might find that the add to cart 1% performs better than the purchase 1%. You just don't know, because remember, it's all about pockets of people. It's where your buyers are. Even though Facebook has created a lookalike of your purchase, it might be that the people who've fallen into the 1% add to cart engage really, really well, and you get more purchases at a better price. So that is all you need to do. So create audience and then create lookalikes. Now, if we just go into building the ad, you go back into your ads manager, just to show you where this is. You build a campaign, and we're going to do this on a conversion. As you know, you like to use the conversion campaign. And when we go into our ad set level where the audience is, again, we'll like where we choose our custom audience. We click on custom audiences. It won't say don't look around for a lookalike. Click on the custom audience field, and now you'll get a lookalike and a custom audience to choose from. Click on lookalikes, and then you'll see a list of the lookalikes that you've created in there. Nice and simple. Now create your retargeting ad to those people in the lookalike, test them all out, go against each other, and see where those pockets of data help. But as far as I'm concerned, don't listen to the press about whether lookalikes work. Just test it out for yourself. Choose some interests, build a couple of lookalikes and test it and see which ones. It's all about which ones work best, engage your audience the best, and get you purchases. That is all we're here for. It's what we want to try and do, is getting a return on our investment. Try them out. I hope that helps, and I will see you on the next podcast. Bye for now.